Good night, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So,
Hi.
hi. Good night, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Caribbean Women's Network's virtual show. My name is Cara Donnell, and I am the founder of Caribbean Women's Network. Tonight is our last virtual event for 2022, so you know that we have to end the year on a high note. I'm really pleased to be sharing the virtual stage tonight with three phenomenal Caribbean women, all who I look up to, who have built empires in their respective industries. So, everyone, please give a very warm welcome to Solange Govia, Design Lead and Operation Manager of Tribe Group of Companies, and Zinga Oniwasan, who is a holistic health consultant, plant based chef, 500-hour celebrity yoga teacher, award winning blogger, and motivational speaker, and Daniel Edmond, who is the founder and owner of Dan's Distributors LLC, the parent company of Stay Golden Cosmetics. Hello, ladies. Welcome. Happy Wednesday.
Hey.
How's everyone doing tonight? How are you guys
Good.
feeling?
Feels great to be here. Thank you so much for providing this for us.
Of course, I'm so happy to be here with you ladies. And I can't wait till we actually can do this in person. But for now, the
Yeah.
virtual stage will have to do. So
hmm
I'll let you guys go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself. So, Danielle, you're to my right on the screen, so we can start with you.
Okay, so I'm Danielle. I am the CEO of CWN Cosmetics and Queen Organics. I like to think of these two brands as my children. CWN Cosmetics is my wild child. She's pretty bold, pretty out there. She's not afraid to stand out from the crowd, and that is exactly what we are in the beauty world. Then we have Queen Organics, which is the older sister of CWN Cosmetics. She's more into self care. I would say that her slogan is self care for the modern gem, because that's exactly who we cater to, women like myself who are definitely wanting to feel on themselves as well as just ensure that their mental state is on check, especially in these times. I'm from the beautiful island of Jamaica, born and raised. I currently reside in New York. I would say that I'm a New Yorker by now. And yeah, like that's my spiel for the moment.
Awesome. And we'll definitely be hearing more from her in a little while. Next up, we have Nzinga.
Hi, my name's Nzinga Oniwosan. I am founder of Yes Baby I Like It Raw, as well as 365 Zing app, and a co-founder for Impact Hub Port-au-Prince, which is a co-working space based in Haiti. I am first gen Haitian American, and my work is centered around how do I empower people to be a better versions of themselves.
Short and sweet. And next, we have Solange.
Hi, my name is Solange Govia. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and I am the operations manager of the Tribe Carnival group of companies, and I am also has been a carnival designer for the past, I think, 12, 13 years. Yeah.
Okay, so we got the Caribbean islands united. We have Jamaica, Haiti, and Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, I'm representing Trinidad and Tobago. So shout out everyone who is in our group chat. Drop some flags. Let us know where you guys are representing from as well. So let's start us off. I know that Nzinga will be speaking to us today about the importance of networking. So I'm really excited to hear more about this. So the stage is yours.
Okay, sure. So I became an entrepreneur. Okay, so I became an entrepreneur in 2005. And so essentially, I've been an entrepreneur for the better part of my adult life. And in that journey, I have had several businesses, some which I had to leave to the side, and others that I've been able to maintain over this time. And one of the things that was really significant for me was the power of relationships. And oftentimes we don't talk about that in the entrepreneurship space. And oftentimes it's really difficult for us to establish good rapport with different institutions and individuals as well. And so when I became an entrepreneur, it was because of a relationship. I had people around me who saw what I had as my potential. And they were like, why are you working for someone? You know, at the time I was pre-med, I was majoring in neuroscience, and was my plan was to become a neurosurgeon. But I pivoted, which is the Caribbean parent's nightmare when you come to the States. Like, no, like, you only have several options: doctor, nurse, lawyer, engineer, all of those elevated things. But as I was trying to figure out what direction I was going to go in, I had friends who are like, hey, like, you're really good at all of these things, and there's no reason why you couldn't manifest a business through that. And so here I am 17 years later, and I've been able to, if had I had not the right people around me, I don't think I would have necessarily made that leap, because there were more people around me who were telling me to follow this path. And in my path, I'm still working as a healer, just not in the traditional sense of what my family thought would be appropriate, or even for myself. And so it's also important in terms of this networking and relationship building that you have the right mentors around you and the right people around you, and asking the right people questions. Because in my journey, there were times I wanted to pivot, and I asked the wrong person, what do you think? And they told me not to go there. And ironically, one of these individuals is doing the very thing that they told me that I could not do at that time. And a lot of the relationships I established has allowed me to get certain contracts. I've built a name for myself. I guess I didn't speak to, like, one of the spaces I work with is I do a lot of consulting in the educational space. And because I've been doing that now for 17 years, I don't really have to look for contracts. They kind of come to me because I've established a rapport in the field that I work in. And so that's really helped me to move forward. And those relationships have also helped me to escape faux pas in terms of my journey. And so you want, in that relationship building, I would say that you also want to make sure you have people who will be honest with you, and people who have been in the industry. Oftentimes as entrepreneurs, particularly now that social media is a bigger thing, because when I became an entrepreneur, it was just starting to really, like, broaden, is that you don't want to talk to people who have 9-to-5s. They won't have the insight you need in the moments where contracts are not being paid on time, when a recession hits. They're going to tell you, just get a job. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I think that I don't believe everyone should be an entrepreneur. It's not built for the weak. And there's, everyone talks about on social media the highs that can be there, but very few people talk about the lows, where you're not sure how you're going to pay certain things, where you might be having you're pulling from Peter to pay Paul, and you need mentors and people around you who can push you through when the decision you made can be really depressing, and you're questioning whether or not this was the right thing for you to do. And I don't think that a lot of people have people who are having those honest conversations with them, which is why that's something I advocate for a lot. And also, by having that network around you in those moments when you're in distress, you know that you've established a relationship with people where people can actually work with you. And I didn't know that on the front end. One of the things I learned over time and through my mentors is my business has a season. When I jumped into entrepreneurship, I just thought that the money was always going to be flowing, because the way I transitioned, I was working a 9-to-5, and then I started my business, and I transitioned out of my 9-to-5 when I was making more money through my business than I was through my 9-to-5, and I had saved up a chunk of money, so I felt really secure. But I had not worked in my industry for 12 months. And so the dead zone, as I call it, hit. And I was like, wait, what happened here? Like, what's going on. And so when I started to speak to my colleagues and started to establish a great sound number of mentors and people around me, they kind of gave me a better sense of like why there's value in having multiple streams of income. What would that look like? And I was able to not make as many mistakes because I had people around me who were like, hey, that looks great. Have you thought about that? Or they were able to speak on my behalf in terms of establishing a grant, getting access to a grant, or establishing a new relationship in terms of contracts, or even opening doors for me that I didn't know that were there to be opened. And I think oftentimes, particularly as women, we take for granted the value of relationships, and there's these stigmas around like, oh, women can't work together and all these things. But honestly, I will say that some of my most beautiful relationships that have opened tremendous doors for me have come by way of women, and those relationships cannot be one-sided. I'm really big on letting my network know each other, because then that's where we can have more access to things together. And I think that's really what's allowed me, particularly when I think about the work that I'm doing in Haiti, has allowed us to really do a lot with not so much. And so people will see us and think that we're like really like banging when it comes to finances, but we've just been able to relationship build. And my co-founders and I have our own personal relationships. And when we came together, we were able to hone those relationships in order for us to do the amazing work that we're doing now and on the ground. Want to ask me any questions about what I said?
I don't have any questions for you directly, but we can definitely open up the floor. If anyone has any questions, you guys can most definitely drop it in the chat. I'm not sure if you guys can actually see the chat to the right on your screens. So if you look over on the far right, there is a chat happening. A couple of people have come in saying good night. Look, you ladies are looking beautiful, which I agree with. If you're on your phone, I think you might have to come out of the screen. I'm not 100% sure how it works with the phone, but there is a chat happening. And Zinga, thank you so much, though, for sharing that. I definitely agree that entrepreneurship is not for the weak. I myself have been an entrepreneur for about 11 years, and it has not been an easy road, especially in the entertainment industry, where it's a male-dominated space. But I would say that I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love the space that I'm in. And although it has been difficult, I'm here for it. I'm here for the challenge. So thank you again so much for sharing that. Next, we have Daniel. So Daniel is going to be sharing with us about support systems, and of course, the importance of that.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to go into the importance of just having good people around you. Outside of just network, I'm talking about the persons that you call your friends, and the persons who are actively involved in your life. But before I hop into that, I just wanted to share my story, because while the topic is building an empire, I had no idea that's what I would have been doing when I started this journey, if I were to be completely honest with you. When I started, I want to say life, in Jamaica, I would say I was a teenager when I got the opportunity to model. And that's something that opened the doors for me, took me overseas and just into different environments that allowed me to look at things very differently. I was born and raised in Jamaica, and I went to school for healthcare administration and marketing in New York. But it wasn't until I went to Johannesburg where I was able to see what I consider Black wealth. And it's something that I have never seen before. And just from experiencing that, it allowed me to open up my mind a bit more, dreaming a bit bigger, instead of just thinking, okay, well, I could be a health administrator, even though that wasn't my true calling. a few years later, through modeling, I was able to go into the event planning space in Zimbabwe, Harare. It's literally an hour away from South Africa, where again, I was placed in these rooms, and just picture me at 20 years old in rooms filled with these Black men and women talking about them owning a gold mine or a silver mine or platinum mine. And I mean, like, that was crazy to me because I didn't think that that could happen to a Black person. And I want to say it changed my perspective from thinking small to actually thinking big and realizing that, hey, you know what? I can actually do something greater. Like, I'm capable. I see what I'm able to do. And with just testing that boundary, I was able to help lead in planning a Lute and Fire concert in Zimbabwe, which was amazing. But what it really showed me was just the bandwidth that I had with doing more as opposed to just modeling, because frankly, I didn't like it. After that, because that was about 2020 going into 20, sorry, that's not 2020. When is this? 10 years ago. When was that? 2010? Yeah, going into 2011. I graduated from college after doing that event, and I decided that I was going to give it a try and actually see whether or not I wanted to be in healthcare. I didn't know that I really didn't want to be in healthcare. But after spending about 2 months in and deciding that, you know what, like, I'm going to take this bet on myself and put all the money that I've made and sort of pour it into something else. Wasn't sure what it was going to be, but I decided that I was going to pour it into something else that was a bit more aligned with who I wanted to be. And I found that being in the space of beauty, because I always loved the fact that, you know, just feeling beautiful made me feel better. And I realized that, you know, when women especially feel good about themselves, when they feel beautiful, they're able to do more and do better. So that's what I honed in on. I want to say around 2016, because I started my business in 2013. And this is just to show that this is a trial period. Like, nothing ever happens overnight in the world of entrepreneurship. I started my business in 2013. And I want to say that we came out of the reds in 2016 when we went super viral on Instagram. One of our major products is called the Glitter Lip Kit. Is known as being kiss-proof, party-proof, drink-proof. It's literally created for your city girl. And it took off. And what that allowed me to do was sort of learn very quickly. We had to put in systems. We had to learn how to fulfill. We had to put certain things into place just to allow us to serve our new customer base, you know. And from that, we were able to build out this brand. That was 5 years ago. Build out this brand to what it is now, and really, really establish ourselves as more than just being this, I want to say, social media brand. At the moment, we're currently in Urban Outfitters as well as the Allure store. We've had persons like Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Lizzo Worst recently, and we've really ascertained a great deal of success for ourselves. But a lot of people wouldn't have seen or wouldn't know the types of L's, and that's losses that, or lessons, I should say, that we've had to take just to get where we are. And I want to say that in those years of building out this business, one of the things that is super important, what I find is super important, is having good people around you, people with good intentions, because everyone else can be such a distraction. My lady said it earlier herself. In terms of network, it's so important to be talking to the right people, because just one person who may not feel so well that one day can throw you off with their ideology of what they think is best for you which isn't really so. So I would definitely say have true friends, people who understand your drive, understand your heart, understand what it is that you're going after, and having these people help impact you and influence you to go further, rather than listening to persons who may not have the best intentions for you. And a lot of that comes from trusting your instincts, trusting your own judgment, and also understanding who you are, what your big picture is, what your vision is for yourself, and ensuring that you're aligning with people who are like you. Yeah.
I definitely love that. And, it's very important to, be around people that vibrate on your frequency, that's really the key. And
For
as you were
sure.
saying before, a lot of people see the success, they see all of the nice cars and the nice house and the travels and the trips and all these other things. And they have no idea the work that you've put in, the challenges that you've gone through, the struggle, the nights of
The
tears.
tears.
Exactly, because I've had a lot of those. I've definitely had a lot of those nights of breaking down, to my support system, and they don't see it. So people really need to understand that this does not happen overnight. Maybe 1 in 10 million, someone will be an overnight success, but you have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined. You have to put in the hard work. And there's going to be my pores just raised because there are a lot of no's. A lot of people will close that door. And you have to be strong enough and dedicated enough and believe in your product and your service that you will be able to overcome, and you will be able to be a success. But it's not all flowers and fruits at the end of the day. So thank you so much for
Exactly.
sharing that.
Of
Before we go
course.
into Solange, I'll actually just like to take a quick minute to shout out my sponsor. So Gen XS is officially going to be in Jamaica Carnival. It's a brand new band. This segment is powered by them, so it would not have been possible. So if you guys are going to Jamaica, make sure you guys check out Gen XS. Their Instagram is Gen XS Carnival, and then or Gen XS Jamaica. I'll have to double check that, as well as their website. But they will be on the ground, first time ever, April 16th. Daniel, I hope you're going to be in Jamaica with us. Solange and Zinga, I'm not sure if you've done the whole Trini Carnival, but we can start you off because it might be a little bit late to plan for Trinidad. We could plan for Jamaica. So shout out the entire team at Gen XS. So yes, next up we have Solange. So welcome, Solange.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Well, I love that the topic that we're all speaking on, the realistic narrative of an entrepreneur, because I remember, and I feel this is why I try to show or tell my story on social media in a very authentic way, and not to sell a dream, because I remember sitting down, just short story, I remember sitting down in a baby shower, and it was like a group of 40 women, and everybody, they had like, okay, who has the most kids? You have to decide who has the most, who's living their dream career. And everybody, all the ladies said Solange. And I just like, I was so confused. I was like, you really think that I have the dream? Like, I have been pulling out my hair, I've been in tears. And I always, like, anytime I have any speaker events at any schools, I always tell them, I was like, do you remember that quote that they say that if you're working your dream job or if you're doing what you love, you're not going to work a day in your life? Wrong. Like, incorrect. You're going to have the days where you're going to want to quit. You're going to want to be like, this is it. I'm done. Like, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm speaking for myself. There are those days. And to have a realistic overview of what really entrepreneur life is. You know what I mean? I'm talking specifically, obviously, in the design process. Like, a lot of the question that I get, like, definitely for the most people who, okay, I love carnival design. How do I get in this business? And I always tell people, listen, it's not as easy as you think. And you have many tools that I didn't have to my advantage, like social media. You could market yourself. You could definitely, with the TikTok and everything, you can market your capabilities and your craft. It's definitely tools that weren't there in my day. Not that I'm that old, but I'm just saying, in my day, I didn't have those tools to my access. So you could show people your talents. But if you're getting in this business and think it's easy and glamorous, it is not. It is not, it's not, it's not. So I'm glad that we're speaking in a very, authentic, real, honest way. just telling you a little bit about my story. I started off just finishing a business degree. My entire family is a family of creatives. I knew I had a creative bone in my body, but I didn't know where to put that avenue. And then all of a sudden, fresh out of university, I was helping out a band named Tribe, helping them out while I was looking for a job. And that year turned into 2 years, turned into here is my career. Because I was always that person who, in school, everybody knew what they wanted to be. Like everybody in university knew what they wanted to be. Like I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a lawyer, I want to do this. I had no clue. Like, and I was scared. I was like, okay, so everybody's so sure of their path. And like, okay, so now you're like 20, like you need to make a decision. And I just didn't know. And look at how things happen. It definitely was not an easy ride. Like I started off as a customer service rep, but being somebody who is very customer oriented. And I will say, I think that is my success as a designer and also managers, that I am very customer focused and customer driven. So yes, exactly what the ladies are speaking about, the other ladies are speaking about, where you are listening to the people speaking about you. However, you have to listen to your customer as well. So that is something that has been key to my success. And I was able to be like, okay, well, let me try my hand at design. You know what I mean? And was able to move up and elevate and increase, because there was no, as you say, there's no school for design. And also, when I'm not the kind of person where I've reached where I am right now, I still want to mentor and I still want to help people, because I didn't have those when I was wanted to design. I didn't have really a school, because there really is no school. And so I was creating avenues. That's why I came up with like the sip and create concept, just teaching people the basic skills of design, because there really is no carnival design class per se. And I obviously I want to put more focus on that, but again, balance of life. That being a entrepreneurial woman, it's like balancing all the, and a mom, balancing all the. Somebody called me the other day an octopus. Like you have too many arms and too many different things. And I was like, yes, I need to reduce the amount of arms. But yes, just coming back, it's just a matter of, again, piggybacking on off of everybody, networking, yes, being focused, yes, being driven, yes, but having a realistic overview of what you want to achieve, and having a clear goal, and being authentic. I think that is, to me, where my success is coming from: authentic, customer driven, and of course my design skills. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. You're on mute.
This never fails. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, ladies, the entire world is currently locked on. You know, billions of people are currently watching our show. What is one message that sits, you know, very close to home for you guys that you guys would share? You know, if there's one thing that you could tell every single person that's watching here, what is it that you would tell them? So I will give Danielle the opportunity to share her message.
You know, the first thing that came to my mind was enjoy your life. Like seriously,
Amen.
because listen, based on what I've experienced, I could spend my entire day working nonstop. I can do this all day, you know, and there will always be work left to do. But you see, the people who you cherish, the people who you love, your parents, your grandmother, your good friends, your bae, you know, like it's so important to go live your life, enjoy your life with those people while we're here, and not get too caught up in just work and trying to be successful, like have successful relationships as well.
The obsession with hustle culture that we have.
So we have to stop it. It's so unhealthy. We have to stop, man.
So unhealthy. Yeah.
Yoko and I were just actually talking about this last night, where it's like, you know, you reach a goal and then it's like, okay, what do I need to reach next? What's on, you know, I bought a house. What's the next car that I'm buying? Or what is, and we never really actually
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the journey and the moment that we're in. And,
Yeah.
I can say for myself, it happens too. I finish a project and I'm on to, okay, what's the next event that we have to do? What's the next thing? And sometimes I have to like reel it back in and say, you've arrived at where you wanted to be. These are the things that you've prayed on for so long, and you get to
Yes.
that point, and God has provided for you, and you're here trying to think about, okay, what is next on my journey, and you're not appreciating. So I think that that's a message that's very, very important to all of us, especially people that are just on the go, entrepreneurs. It's always, how can I reach the next goal, and we really need to just be more appreciative of the space that we're in, because I think gratitude is very important, of course. So if we're not appreciative of where we are now, we might not
Yes.
actually get to that next step, if we're not appreciative of this space, right? So thank you for that. And Zinga.
I think it falls in line with the same thing that Danielle said. Make sure you make time for rest and play. Emphasis on rest, because it's so easy to burn out. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are functionally depressed, because the reality of of entrepreneurship is it can be tough and like depressing. And so just making sure that you, yeah, you could work for 24 hours, but make sure that the money that you're trying to save, it might be more effective in getting help than to try to do everything. So outsourcing is one of my forms of self-care, because I am really good at a lot of things, but that doesn't do me any good to do everything with my business. And then there are accessible ways to get help through like interns. There's even virtual assistants. But I think this idea of rest has been something that I've been really, it's in self-care has been really, really big. It's something I actually do for corporate institutions, because we don't talk about rest. Like we were saying, burnout culture, like it's a badge of honor. Martyrdom is a badge of honor, particularly as women, because that's who we're talking to. It does no good for you to burn yourself out, because then when you burn yourself out, the business suffers, your family suffers, everything around you suffers. You can't make good decisions when you're not well rested. You end up making poor decisions. Like there's research to back this up. So make sure that while you're building out your business, like when I know I have my high season, and I then know that I have my low season. So I take advantage of the low season where I kind of save up, and I take that as an opportunity for me to vacation and to rest and to reflect on what I'm doing, so that I have like these moments to restore myself. And I think restoration is not something we really talk about in this entrepreneur space. And also knowing when to pivot, when to let something go. Because I think sometimes we're trying to prove to the world that this way was the way. And sometimes God, the universe, whatever you call it, has something bigger and better for what you're doing. And we're holding on to something that is completely not good for us, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And if we would just take an opportunity to rest, evaluate, and make a choice, maybe a different choice, then we have better outcomes.
I love that.
Yes, so do I. Definitely love that. We are all Caribbean women. So my question to you ladies is, what does being Caribbean mean to you? Anyone can go ahead. This is the Caribbean woman's platform.
Yeah.
And Caribbean people, we are vibrant, we are resilient, we are beautiful, we are creative. So, we are very unique in our own right. So what does being Caribbean mean to you?
I mean, the first thing that popped in my mind was we are definitely rich in culture. And for me, I have to also advocate for other Caribbean creatives and also other Caribbean cultural forums. So for me as a Caribbean woman, that's be a part of it. And also you have to be a part of it, like growing as well. So that's kind of, I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but that's
There's
what came
no
in
right
my
or wrong
mind.
answer. It's what resonates with you. So that's perfect. Danielle?
Okay, so I mean, you know, I feel like we are so dynamic that there's not even like any sequence of words that I could use because it's like we're colorful. Yeah, we are very colorful. But one of the things that I love about my culture, and I'm just going to just talk about Jamaica for a bit, Jamaican girl in the building right now. Like one of the campaigns that my brand did, it's called the Island Girl campaign. And there's a reason why I went to Jamaica to shoot that campaign. There's even reasons why I worked with certain creatives. I want to tell you that that has been the most spectacular to this day, and this was back in 2018. It has been the most spectacular, beautiful campaign, storytelling, the essence of not just Jamaican lifestyle, but Caribbean lifestyle to an extent that I've ever seen. We've utilized the beauties of what we know Caribbean beauties to be. Like, I mean, you go to any Caribbean island, every single woman look good. Like, let's be real. But then outside of that, the talented production team that I have, like Mr. Bootleg Rockstar, for example, who came through for me last minute, literally took like 3 days to pull 22 looks depicting various types of island girl. We had a dancehall queen. We had a girl like Trenchtown. If you know anything about Trenchtown, that's where reggae started. That's where Bob Marley is from. We had girls representing Bacchanal, Sac Passe, all in rich flavor, all storytelling these various shades of colors that we were launching. We had Lexon Art, Adrian McDonald, who is an artist to me. His photography is amazing, and every single time I look at his work, it's like poetry to me, And I want to say that we're talented, we're bold. There's a reason why Rihanna is who she is, because she is inspired and fully of our culture, And I feel like it is surely rich, and it is super dynamic, and it's irreplaceable, and it's rock starish, and it's epic, and it's loud, and it's just gorgeous culture, man. I don't have more words, but I feel like there's a ton more that I could use right now.
I absolutely love every single part of it. I love it. I see Trini Jungle Juice in here with their Thai Caribbean rich. That's just what it is. And Zinken, what would you like to share?
I mean, like they took a lot of what I was going to say. I think I was like, oh man, I feel like I'm about to bust out into poetry when I think about what Caribbean women are. And I was like, oh, the thing I wanted to say is rich, but we're also like, there's like this dichotomy, like of resilience, because we're all these beautiful things in spite of a lot of things that are complicated in the Caribbean, and the fact that we can make wine out of water, like we're miracles, like we're magical, and we won't let anyone take our magic away, and so I think that's what I would add, because they definitely used a lot of the words that I wanted to go to.
Rich, magical, beautiful, phenomenal. I'm taking all of the words. So I see that we have a couple of questions in the chat, so we can, let me just pull these up really quickly. So the first question is for Nzinga. So what if you're introverted? How do you learn to get out of that shell when it comes to networking? It's a great question.
Oh, that's such a great question. I would say there are some spaces where they create a networking opportunity. And I'm really big. I'm an entrepreneur, but my work in Haiti is I work with entrepreneurs, and I had the fortunate opportunity to direct the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, which was like a global effort through the United States globally. And so sometimes if you're introverted, one of the things I suggest is dress in such a way that people are forced to stop and ask you who you are. So that helps you like step out of the comfort zone of being forced to speak to someone, or look at someone who like catches your eye and just try to speak to one person. I know it can be really hard to speak to someone if you're introverted. I want to own being introverted, but the reality is when I think about myself, I'm not that introverted. I'll go up to a stranger and be like, "Oh, I like your shoes." But one of my things when I don't feel like peopling, because although I am quote unquote extroverted, there are times I don't feel like peopling. I'll like wear something really fabulous, and then people will come up to me, and then I'll be like, "So who are you? Like, tell me what you do." "Oh, okay." And that helps me spark a conversation. And I think that's an easier way to start to feel more ease with it. And also go to networking events that that they have intentional activations or icebreakers to help foster and nurture those opportunities to speak to someone. Like one of the things I like to do is a networking bingo where you have to find someone in the room who fits something that's in the box, And so that's
I
one of the
usually
ways that
do that for my women's event. Sorry to cut you, but I usually give everyone the wrong name tag, and you have to go find the person that has your name at my
yeah.
event.
Yeah, so I do a
That's
bingo
good.
where it's like
That's
this
good.
person was born in the country, this person is this, and it's fun because it lightens the air. Because networking can kind of be dense sometimes, and intimidating. Because some people, particularly let's be real, as
I think her service is just reconnecting. We'll give her a second.
can you see me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I was like, of course. I will say this, that oftentimes, let's be honest, because we're Caribbean women, we have a stone face that we don't know we have, right? And like, and we could be the loveliest, most delightful person on the planet, but when we're in our minds or we're just kind of like observing our environment, we can look like the most conceited, non-approachable person.
𝑩𝒖𝒊𝒏𝒈 is real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have people who they're like, I didn't think I liked you when I first saw you because you seem stuck up. And I was like, I am the farthest thing from being stuck up. So I will also say smile more, because that makes you more approachable. Because oftentimes if we're consumed with fear because social spaces feel uncomfortable, then our face might signal that we're not approachable. And so like if you make eye contact, don't waver away, like soften your eyes and smile and be like, "Hey, like what's your name?" So that's another thing, because I know I have, like my friend calls a stand, and when I'm like this, I'm not mad, but look at this, like God made these bones that look like they will cut you, and that's not the case. And so also knowing that sometimes a person's not approachable, that we often don't know what's going on. And we often and we don't know what people are carrying, and just because they might not have felt approachable in that moment doesn't mean that they're not someone you can reach out to. And if networking events aren't your thing, you can always shoot someone an email, but let it be authentic, right? And again, like I said earlier, oftentimes new entrepreneurs are always coming at people like, "What can you do for me?"
Right.
And that's not establishing a relationship. A relationship is about reciprocity. And so sometimes your first couple of networking events might just be absorbing the space and just feeling it out. And not every networking space is the space for you. Not every event is the space for you. And I think sometimes the way networking is sold, it's like every space has value and every space does not have value. It's not worth it. You've been better off working on your business and sending a message to someone. And also don't forget to follow up with whatever cards you get, because I have gotten so much success in taking someone's card who I didn't necessarily speak to because they were overwhelmed, but following up and say, "Hey, really love this about you. research them a little bit more so you can be sure that this is someone you want to even want to know, and send an authentic message. And that can be more far reaching than these networking spaces where that person's probably overwhelmed and you can't even establish a good rapport with them.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So the next question we have is for Solange. How do you deal with the pressure of the carnival industry, and how do you garner support from female peers? So, you know, I guess, wait, I thought I was on mute there for a second. Yeah.
How do I deal with the pressure? I don't think I deal with the pressure. And then you end up becoming somebody who is like, it has to be a deadline oriented. Like the carnival industry has made me a deadline oriented person where I don't have a deadline that we need to finish this by, we need to do this by, then I will be a procrastinator and complete. So that is what that pressure has created in me. Like,
So
you
you've
have to
gotten
get it
better
done.
at time management through this journey.
Yes and yes and no. If you believe in procrastination, I don't. But definitely work on deadlines. But again, I love that they mention like, how do I lean on my peers, because I would not be where I am today without other women on my team. Like everybody has said, it is the entrepreneur is not just yourself. Yes, you have to be focused, etc. But you always have a team of women around you. And most of my team, like I think majority of my team, 90% of my team is women. You know what I mean? Women, sorry. And I would not be here without my team. You know what I mean? I would not be who I am without my team. You know what I mean? So I think, how do I deal with the pressure? It's about balance, I think. And I think it has driven me to become somebody, I guess, like, as you say, deadline oriented and very hyper focused, to the point where I don't even know how to relax sometimes. Relaxing is important, rest is important, but sometimes I feel like, again, this obsession with hustle culture, it's like you don't know how. So you have to fight that balance too. You have to continuously fight that balance. And that is where you have to rely on your team. And I have always said, and I will say it again, the only reason I'm a success is because I have the right people around me, which is what everybody's saying. I have the right team of women, and I have the right support system as well. Because again, if I didn't have the family support system, I wouldn't be here either. So I think that's how I deal with the pressures, because with the family and friends that I have, failure is not an option. You know, failure is not an option. And when I feel like I'm slipping in that dark hole myself, I have people around me that are going to pull me out and be like, all right, cool. Yeah, no, you know, and that's important, because I have been, and I guess the pandemic, as a creative in this pandemic, and you're not a necessary service, I was slipping in that dark hole. I was like, you know, I chose a career that really is not a necessity. And, you know, am I going to design masks again? Like, why did I choose this career? Why didn't I just go and work in a bank? Why didn't I do something with my degree, as opposed to I'm sticking gems and I'm giving, you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing this and I'm just like, did I choose the right thing? And I find myself slipping. And then your team is there to be like, all right, cool. We giving you a day of self-pity, but we pulling you back out. We got you. You know, we good. And that is, again, key. Again, what everybody is saying is that keeping the key people around you and listening to the right voices. Definitely, for sure.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Danielle, so
I love that.
someone asked, what are some tips for building a core team in a new market?
Building a core team, well, one, it really depends on what your focus area is, right? And a team of what, right? Like, is it marketing? So I would say, like, right now, just from a personal experience, if I'm building out, let's say, the new age of marketing, because we see how marketing is shifting, this is what I've been doing, and this is things that I am implementing in my own business. One, someone who is highly efficient and well exposed, and a user of TikTok, because TikTok has been, I want to say we've gone viral on TikTok like at least 20 times last year and a few times this year. And it has amassed like major recognition. I mean, that's why we were even on allure. That's why TikTok created a glitter lip filter. You know, so we would want someone who is pretty efficient at that platform. We have that person, 𝒊𝒏𝒈 𝒊𝒏𝒈 𝑦𝒐. Outside of that, we would build out like, so email, SMS still important at the end of the day. Like if our social medias were to fall apart, where is our community? Where, you know, we make sure, so we continue to collect emails. We're always collecting emails. We're always collecting people's numbers, and we're nurturing that community. So if we were to shut down on social media one day, we still have our newsletters that can push people into the direction of where we will be, or where we will be coming soon, or hey, this is what's going on, to keep them updated, and so on. Ads are definitely important. We need an ads team for just about every single platform. I want to tell you that a lot of our success has also been with just placing ads in the right place. So for example, in 2017, Facebook was a great place to place ads. So was IG. But then you guys may have heard about like the iOS 14 update, where Apple stopped users from being tracked. So we were no longer able to, you know, show up on people's feeds. But as a result of that, shift is important. And again, that's why it's important to look at what's happening, right? So now we know that what platforms can we use? So we know we can use TikTok, we know we can use Google Ads. So it's like literally setting up various teams around platforms that we know that can work, you know, for us, whether it is building out again or email list, or just making people more aware of the brand. Outside of that, there's blogs and vlogs, aka YouTube. So if we're building out even that, you know, blogs is very important for SEO, search engine optimization. Like there's a lot that I can really go in, but it's super important to build out those things, because you need SEO optimization to allow people to come to your website. That's how you get viewership. You want people to spend a very long time on your website. And as an e-commerce business, how do people do that? I mean, a lot of people just have products on their websites, but the longer people stay on your website, the more you're likely to be shown. So with having blogs, you allow persons to come through, read, and maybe sign up and learn something about your business, learn something about, hey, why is self-care important more now than ever? Like whatever that blog is, it's going to bring people to your platform. And then also through blogs, you want to put people on YouTube, because we know that YouTube is, I think it's the #2 search engine, right, outside of Google. You want to be on YouTube. You want to be present on YouTube. You want persons to be able to find you on YouTube. And then there's the whole world of Amazon, where Amazon is literally the third top search engine right after YouTube. That's why so much people are putting, or I want to say businesses are putting their products on Amazon, because when people are searching, for example, gifts for my girlfriend for the holiday, literally an Amazon item is gonna pop up. So if I were to build out a team, I would take like every single thing that I've noticed or realized or learned based on what I see current trends are, taking everything into perspective, prioritizing them, then finding the right people who have ample amounts of experience in that neck of the woods, and then ensuring that everyone's on the same page and know the objective, and then we're working full force to complete certain goals for each quarter. Yeah.
That was very detail oriented, and I think that it will be very helpful for that person that just asked that question. So thank you.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's very good information that's necessary. So thank you so much for sharing that. We have 3 more questions before we go. So, and Zinga, how do you decide between having entrepreneurial dreams or deciding if you should follow your degree into the corporate world?
Well, you know what? Your degree will always show up in the work that you do. Unless you're completely left field with your degree and what you're doing. 'Cause I've been able to really use my neuro background so much in the work that I do as an arts integration consultant, or even in the work that I do in terms of holistic wellness, and the work that I do with the entrepreneurs, because in my work in Haiti, I'm really talking about self-care because and why it's so important. And I'm able to then like look at the research and break it down in a way that's very simplified to a lay person. Um, However, there are the moments where I was like, yo, if I was a neurosurgeon right now, I wouldn't be stressed. But that's not true because I would have a different type of stress, right? Malpractice, long hours, all of those things. And so there has to be a point in your decision that you have to be okay with it. And I think it can be really hard, especially if you're still trying to meet your parents' expectations. And I would be lying to you if there are not moments where I'm like, man, like I think my parents are still disappointed in me. And I always have people, because I was a nerd, I got full scholarship. So they're like, oh my God, you were so smart, and look at what you're doing with your life. But like, I make sure like my parents feel validated that I'm still doing good when they see like the features. So I show the features like, hey, I'm still successful. I'm still doing things. I'm still making a change in the world, just not in the way that you thought. And they eventually come back around. Because sometimes that question is not about us. It's the family in the background, and the reality is our parents didn't make the sacrifices they did for us to suffer, and that was something I had to like understand why my parents were like feeling the way they did. And it's the truth. They didn't make the sacrifices they made so I could suffer. And so like how that underscores my work is I'm not going to suffer in this work. Like it pushes me more to be successful in the decision that I made so that they knew that their work wasn't in vain.
Yeah.
Answer that. And Solange, what would be a good recommendation to reset in the event that you get derailed or discouraged? She's like, girl.
I mean, I think I did answer that. I think anytime I'm derailed or discouraged, as I said, it's definitely the people around me and definitely the team that pulls me up. So yeah, I feel like I answered that already because that's
I'll add to that. So how do you typically, because you are a mom, a wife, and obviously you have your own business as well as the other stuff going on. So how do you balance that? Because I think that that's also something that a lot of women find it hard to do because, having kids alone, when I think about it, I don't have any kids and I sometimes can't fathom having kids and doing what I do. So, what does that balance look like for you?
You don't. Like you make certain, and I have to be realistic in don't be sold by a mom. You could do everything, a working mom, and they're gonna be sacrifices. You're gonna miss a key meeting if you have to go home and make bedtime, right? And I'm gonna miss his first steps if I'm choosing to be on set all day, making sure the costumes are shot properly, right? It is when women say, oh my God, you can manage it all. Sometimes you can't. There are going to be times where you don't feel like you can't. And every day I feel like I can't. You know what I mean? It is really, really difficult. And again, I have to be this realistic voice that it is to manage all aspects. And I always say, again, with the octopus arms, if you're pushing one higher, one is going to get lower, So it is not only the mom, the wife, the friend, like the friendship, being a friend, being an ally, being a worker, being a comrade, being everything. Like I find sometimes like now my friendships have diminished because I'm just hyper focused on work and then work and mom. And then your friends are like, okay, well, we're not seeing you, we're not hearing from you, what's happening? But like you have to the balancing, and it is a work in progress. I have no right or wrong answer for you. You just kind of have to go with your gut and go with what's right. Right now, in the early years of my son's life, for me, it is imperative to give him more time. And I know that certain things like my friends would understand, I don't put in as much hours of work over time, but I feel like I've built up myself and worked myself to a point where I don't need to do that. And again, that's where your team comes in and your team pulls some stress off of you. Again, somebody who never used to like to delegate because I like things a certain way. Now I'm like, okay, delegating, like you need to handle it because I really, really can't. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. No right answer, no wrong answer. Just it's about balancing. And again, if you become focused too much on one, another arm is gonna drop. So yeah.
Right. Well, these conversations are never about, right or wrong. Like I said, this is just sharing the realistic situation, because there's a lot of people out here on social media, sugarcoating everything. People, young girls are on social media looking up to other people, and it's not a realistic situation that they're looking up to. So that's why I try to, encourage these types of conversations so people and women and younger girls understand that, it's not, again, it's not all peaches and cream at the end of the day. There's a lot of things going on your journey, but it's how you deal with it. And it's also, like you guys have mentioned several times, that support system that you have, having that core group of people that support you, that ride for you, and that are there to pull up your socks when you're doing crap, right? So the last question that we have here is for Danielle, and that was, I believe, what was the best piece of advice you've ever received along your journey?
Quit your job. That was from Dr. 𝑩𝒖𝒊𝒏𝒈 𝑨𝒏. That was my mentor. He passed away 4 years ago. He was the person who gave me the opportunity to even be in South Africa and Zimbabwe. He was the one who ensured that I was involved in those projects. And the job that he was referring to was modeling, because he knew that I didn't like it. And he gave me some insight that I needed. And he just told me, like, quit your job. And I honestly knew I was going to, but it was good to have his support with that decision, so yeah.
Okay.
I want to say he was like, one of those good voices in my ear, because he had my best interest, so yeah.
Okay, there's actually one last question that I will ask all of you guys, because I think each of you would have a different answer, which is, if you can change one aspect of your career, what would it be? For me, I'm not changing.
I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything. Because like, I think a lot of times we lean on the good things, but some of my best lessons came in
from
those moments. Yeah, the clouds and the lightning and the earthquake and the hurricanes. And I think that we have to honor that life is about seasons. We don't really have seasons in the Caribbean, let's be honest. Right? But it's not summer everywhere. And even in the Caribbean, we have rainy season, and we shift in those times, and it makes us more flexible and more resilient over time. So
yeah, and I agree there. I wouldn't change my story, because it is what brought me to where I am. But I do know that, with being an entrepreneur, shift is important. So if we're talking about change in that capacity where it's like, yeah, we have to shift, we always have to evolve, and we always have to shift, then sure, eventually, the shifting it's in progress, but I definitely wouldn't change what has already happened. It's detrimental to this story,
Yep, it made.
I think same. Wouldn't change a thing.
Well, I'm glad that we all agree on that. That shows, ladies and gentlemen who are watching, that your journey is what makes you, and your story is what it molds you. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm really just so happy to be able to share in the space with you guys, to learn more about you guys, and to just listen to your truth, because that's what it's about, you know, just learning from one another and being able to understand that we all go through different things. But the most important thing is being able to support one another and understand that, you know, we might go through the worst storms, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So, you know, you just keep your faith and keep pushing. So I don't know if you guys have any final parting words before we leave, but again, I'm just truly, truly, truly so grateful to have been able to share space with you guys.
Oh,
Thank
so
you for having us.
thank you
you
so
for having
much.
us.
Thank you.
I love this talk. This was honestly super inspirational, like hearing from all of you ladies and just being reminded that we're in this for a reason and we're going at it for a reason. And yes, it's challenging, but it's all worth it. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah.
It is.
Thank
It
you.
is definitely. I hope you guys have a blessed night. To everyone that was watching, thank you again for your questions. Thank you again for tuning in. And then thank you for sharing space with us tonight. You guys could have been anywhere else tonight, but you've been here with us. So thank you so much. Make sure you guys check out Caribbean Women's Network on social media, our website, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And until I see you guys in the new year, be blessed, stay beautiful, and keep
You
doing
too.
amazing things, guys.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.